Hi, my name is DJ King, and I'm with Casey, who is a real live fish lobster dog. Now, this dog, Casey, can dive down 10 feet deep and pick up fish off the bottom. Years ago, Labradors were used on boats. If a fish got away, they'd dive into the water and pick the fish up and bring it back to the guys rowing the boat. So he's a real fish dog. Lobstering has always been kind of a romantic type of a occupation. When you say you're a lobsterman, people really, their ears perk up. Now, I've had kids on my boat that have gone to interviews for big businesses, and when they look at their resume and say they worked on a lobster boat, they spend most of their time in the interview talking about the lobster boat and what it's like to be on a lobster boat and what you did on the lobster boat. Even though they're trying to get into the IBM computer department, they're still, it's something that grabs people. It's the lure of the sea that grabs these people, and it's like, it's like a wonderful life, and that's the way people like to see lobster fishing. And it's not as wonderful as they think it is.
We approach the buoy here. There's one buoy here and there's one buoy to the south. We come up on the buoy like this. He knows as soon as I slow the boat down that his job is to get over there and get on that hook. And hopefully he doesn't miss it. Lobster in! Another 2-pounder. Nothing but 2-pounders today. Nice. Beauty. Lobsters. Let's go into the Schilder's house. We have 43-degree water temperature and 30 feet deep. Nice day for a swim. That's right.
So it was a very vibrant system, and then in 1989, in the September of '89, we had a hurricane come through, Hurricane Floyd.
There could be rapid strengthening underway, and again, officially, Floyd is now a hurricane with 80-mile-per-hour sustained winds.
And at the same time just before the hurricane came through, there was this large scare for the West Nile virus. So they were spraying chemicals and dropping these briquettes in all the drains to kill the mosquitoes so they wouldn't bite people and pass this West Nile virus on. So the chemicals, so when the hurricane came, we had a huge amount of water that entered Long Island Sound, along with this mixing of all these chemicals for the West Nile virus. and it pretty much wiped out anything close to shore, all the lobsters. The lobsters were very weak. They got weakened by this whole situation with the pesticides.
But you got to do more than one thing now. And that's what we do. You know, we do the blackfish, we do the nets, we do the oysters, we got the seaweed out there. That guy wants to put more seed string out there, and that's every day. You can't have weather like this. I don't think you can even have below freezing, because that seaweed will disappear. Yeah, it'll freeze on the way overboard.
Got a seal in here.
I don't think we'll get 20 fish out of this whole net next time we pull it. Got it?
You got it.
It was like the straw that broke the camel's back, and it has never recovered since that's going on like 15 years or so, at least, almost. And as the lobsters disappeared, so did the Lobstermen, because now, without lobsters to go out there and catch, there became less pots, less bait, less lobsters, less pots, less bait, less lobsters. So now, where there was once 100,000 pots, there's possibly 1,000 out there. And the pots are not baited because it's not economically worth it to go out there and pull pots and catch nothing. Slowly came back a little bit in the last couple of years, but there, like I said, there's nobody that does it as strictly a full-time lobsterman. There's been a lot of changes, mostly the lobstering through the years, from the early 70s through the late 80s, got better and better, and more guys got into it, and we had some tremendous years out there, and all of Long Island Sound was highly productive and tremendous with lobstering, and we wouldn't even have thought about doing some of these other things that we're doing now.
So those are the lobster traps that'll be going out to catch Christmas lobsters. Then we also have here some winkle traps that have to be fixed. And then we also have over here is one of the second stages of the oysters. We put the oysters in the bags. The first stage is the upweller, second stage is bags, and third stage is out off Linden Avenue in cages. So you can see some of the oyster bags there. They're mostly smaller oysters, not quite ready for market yet. And then you can see a giant shell pile. When we sort through the oysters, there's always a certain amount that die, and then we throw them into the shell pile. And what happens is, when the oysters spawn in July, they free-floating spawn attaches to the old oyster shells. So we get a nice natural set of oysters right on those shells right there. And there's a bunch of oysters set from this year.
So anyone that's strictly a lobsterman is no longer out there. There's not one person that's strictly a lobsterman anywhere in Long Island Sound.
Too small to eat. Now these were grains of sand in first week of July. They got to be this big in that short amount of time. And see, here's, like I said, you get shells a lot of times. Here's one that happened to not make it. Died. But the water comes up through these upwellers, and the circulation of the water, the oysters take a lot of the food out of the water, and they also take a lot of pollutants out of the water. That's why you sometimes see like real clean, the water really clean and clear. That's because there's all these oysters sucking out all the stuff out of there.
The hardest part is probably the unpredictability. I think it's the same with farming, even farming, land farming. You know, weather and the conditions sometimes change things out there, like it did with the lobsters. So you're not certain what you're going to catch on any given day. You can, or in a year. You know, your income can vary greatly from year to year, and I think you have to diversify into a lot of different things in order to sustain some of these highs and lows that you go through.
It's a little colder, but as far as rough goes, this isn't that bad. Now, a little rolly. Now you can see the way these seas like rollers coming from the east. There's like a northeast wind with an east roll. That means when you get out a little further, this wind is cranking right out of the east and hard. Guarantee you.
No, I'm probably going to be going out for quite a while. Just I do enjoy it when we get out there, and there's some really nice days. Of course, the crummy days, you always wish you had an office job sitting by a computer, but the nice days, it's really nice to be out there, and that's one of the reasons why I actually I had made a decision not to sit in an office. Lobsters have been around for millions of years, like people, and they go through cycles like this, and I'm just hoping that it's a low cycle and maybe they can overcome some of these other warm waters and this pollution thing. They can become immune to them.